It's a return to the roses for Oregon. The Ducks blow out the Bruins on a frigid night to cap off a three-peat. Darren Thomas sliced and diced the UCLA secondary, and LaMichael James and company ran wild in the first ever Pac-12 championship game. Now it's on to Wisconsin. The Badgers went the full 60 against Michigan State and punched their ticket to Pasadena to face Oregon. In a classic speed versus strength matchup, the Ducks now go up against the big Badgers. The regular season is in the books, and we'll recap a wild year in the Pac-12 with our plays of the year. It's all coming up on this season finale of Inside the Pac. The Oregon defense with 4 sacks on the night against UCLA. We get things going with the bowl projections here. Oregon's already locked up the Rose Bowl, of course. Stanford likely headed to the Fiesta. Washington to the Alamo Bowl. The Cal Bears most likely San Diego bound versus Texas. As we continue, Utah to the Sun, Arizona State heading to Vegas, and the 6-7 Bruins projected for the Fight Hunger Bowl in San Francisco. Hello and welcome to the season finale edition of Inside the Pac. A big show on tap this week. If we have crowned the Pac-12 champion, and for the third straight year, it is Oregon. Tom Ward along with Nick Krupke and former Oregon lineman Todd Kaanapu. TK, thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Round 2, ITP.
I know you're a proud Duck this week as Oregon returns to the Roses now for the second time in 3 years. The Ducks set all kinds of school records for passing touchdowns, rushing yardage, 11 points shy of last year's total of points for 611 for the season. Capped off by a great effort in the first ever Pac-12 title game.
Well, 3 years running, conference champions, 3 BCS bowls in a row. It's great to experience this for the players, for the program. Just really proud for everything, everyone's been involved.
Well, the big question after this one, has LaMichael James played his final game at Autzen in a Duck uniform?
Well, he's done everything that you could do in college. Heisman Trophy, broken the touchdown record, yards record. Yeah, I think he's done everything. He needs a Rose Bowl victory, actually.
Yeah, and I guess the next question is, how do you think he would fare? Where does he fit in the NFL, if that is the case?
Well, if you look at how the NFL backs are, I don't think he'll be a 20-30 carry game type of running back. But again, from a specialty standpoint, putting him in positions, getting him the ball out in space, obviously he has extreme talent.
All right, as we talk about the matchup now moving forward, this doesn't set up real well for Oregon, this big, strong, physical Wisconsin front line and a running game that's fairly potent.
Yeah, I think if you were watching that incredible Big Ten championship, you were hoping that Michigan State would win, and they kind of look like they had, but Russell Wilson making plays down the stretch, and Wisconsin comes out of there. You look at them, though, they are very, very good. They're so close to being an undefeated team, maybe playing for the national championship. And the number for me that sticks out, they are tops in the country with LSU, only 8 turnovers this year for Wisconsin. They certainly take care of that ball, and that running game is one of the best, if not the best, in the country, too.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, 31 touchdowns passing, just 3 interceptions on the year.
Wow.
Very high, very good turnover to interception or touchdown to interception ratio for Russell Wilson. Of course, we'll have more on the Badgers as we get this show moving along, but it was not the ideal matchup for Pac-12 Commissioner Larry Scott. USC's postseason bowl ban included the inaugural conference championship game. As a result, the South Division runner-up, UCLA, earned the right to take on North Division champ Oregon in the title game. The Pac-12 tried to make it look like a neutral site at Autzen, but it was certainly not a neutral feel. The final game as head coach for the Bruins, Rick Neuheisel, fired by his alma mater on the prior Monday. After the Bruins turned it over on their opening possession, Ducks on 4th and 1. Great blocking. LaMichael James finds a hole, 30-yard dash for LMJ, make it 7-zip Oregon. But the Ducks turned it over as well after a DeAnthony Thomas fumble. Darren Thomas off the hands of Kenyon Barner and intercepted by Patrick Larimore. He gets it going and takes it back 35 yards for the game-tying pick 6. We're tied at 7. Ducks answered right back, though. Darren on the keeper, 10 yards. He's in, untouched, 14-7 Ducks. They rushed for 352 yards on the night. Later in the first, after Oregon converted on 4th down again, Darren Thomas, 7 yards to the freshman from Hillsboro, Colt Lyerla, all alone. 21-7 Oregon after 1 quarter. The Bruins, meanwhile, had nothing to lose, and they drained the playbook in Rick's final game. The flea flicker, Kevin Prince to Nelson Rosario, and he takes it to distance, 37-yard touchdown, 2 scores for Rosario on the night, cuts the Oregon lead to 7, 21-14. Oregon doubled them up with more LeMike. No one out there on the right side. James walks in, passes Marcus Allen for 3rd all-time rushing in conference history, 28-14. LeMike now trails just Ken Simonton and Charles White. Later, the Bruins get greedy, attempting the reverse, but the bad pitch by Derek Coleman. Terrell Turner jumps on it and recovers for the Ducks. 4 turnovers on the night by UCLA, and then on 4th down again, it's Darren with the swing pass out to Darrell Hawkins on the screen. The former quarterback takes it in for the 25-yard touchdown, make it 35-14 Oregon. And the Duck defense began to settle in a little bit in the second quarter. Deion Jordan, the brutal sack on Kevin Prince.
You might want to block that guy.
You know, just untouched. Oregon with 4 sacks on the night, 35-17 Ducks at the half. Third quarter, James, the leading rusher in the country, collects the touchdown hat trick, the 58th score of his career for the junior, 5 yards off right tackle, make it 42-24. LeMike finished with 219 yards rushing in perhaps his final game at Autzen. He was named the game MVP. Next possession, David Paulson indeed playing his final game at home. The senior runs up the seam, 22-yard score from Thomas. Darren becomes Oregon's all-time leader with 63 touchdown passes. UCLA got a late TD to make it closer, but the Ducks are now headed back to the Rose Bowl, second time in 3 years, and make it 3 straight conference crowns for Oregon, and they indeed get to party. 49-31 the final. LaMichael James, another spectacular performance. Those 219 yards on 25 carries and 3 touchdowns, and James becomes the first rusher in conference history, 3 straight 1,500-yard rushing seasons.
The Ducks now the first ever Pac-12 champions. They join Washington and USC as the 3 programs to win 3 straight conference titles. That goes back to the days of the Pac-8. Oregon getting it done this year in spite of a number of injuries.
We've only had 3 kids on our defense start every game this year. We've only had 6 kids on our offense start every game, and it's just next guy in. You know, when we had some kids go down in the game tonight, and again, it was just next guy in. And these guys don't blink. They're fearless competitors, and they're a lot of fun to be around.
We had some guys banged up. It seemed like the whole season, but everybody kept fighting. You know, it was really a short week for us, but, you know, it was a short week for those guys too. And I really like the way we came out and we competed today.
The coach been preaching to us all year about championship, playing like a champion. Like, you know, we've been playing like a champion all season, and, you know, we won the championship.
I'm going to celebrate until we start bowl practices. So however long that is, that's how long I'm going to celebrate.
And if this is LaMichael James going out at Autzen, what a way to go out. Gets the mini trophy for being named the game's MVP, that 219-yard, 3-touchdown performance. TK, we saw a little from the Oregon defense in this game against UCLA in the highlights. Not the greatest night for the defense, but they came up and made plays when they had to.
Well, opportunistic is what they were. I think you have to give a lot of credit to Kevin Price because he took a beating on Friday night. But if you look at it, UCLA's strategy was to run the ball vertically, try to get upfield, take the time, keep the ball out of Oregon's hands. And you see here Eddie Pleasant coming in with the strip. I think what it shows that when you try to make us one-dimensional, we have athletes in every position, and there's no one way to beat us.
Yeah, then 4th and 1 later, Kiko Alonso gets in there and disrupts the play. That stops the UCLA drive, and then this is Prince again taking more abuse. This is Michael Clay coming on a blitz.
This is a coverage sack off the edge. He just had no one to throw it to, and if you're going to leave Michael Clay unblocked, this is what happens.
Well, safe to say that Oregon is going to have to step it up against Wisconsin. I mean, they played well enough to win in this game, and certainly UCLA is no offensive juggernaut, having gotten shut out the week prior against USC. But Wisconsin is an offensive juggernaut.
Monty Ball, outstanding back, offensive line averaging 322 pounds, 6'5". They can run the football, and Russell Wilson is a nightmare running and passing the football.
Well, certainly a dual-threat quarterback, and when you look at it, Nick, I mean, the matchup here, Oregon's offense against Wisconsin's defense, that looks pretty good because the Badgers have given up a lot of points, particularly they gave up 2 big plays late in games that cost them being undefeated.
I think when you roll into a game like this, I think the Ducks know they're not going to put up 50. They're not going to put up maybe even 40. But this should be just a great game. And for this, it's not the national championship like last year, but it's still the Rose Bowl. If you're not going to play for the national title, the Rose Bowl is the game you want to be in. It's the one that still can have some meaning. You can kind of be proud to wear around that Rose Bowl champion shirt, unlike, maybe the Fiesta Bowl, you can throw that in there, but there's so many, just a glut of bowl games that don't mean much of anything. The Rose Bowl, though, still does a lot of pageantry that goes with it, too.
Right, and a lot of guys after this game on Friday night talking about getting to the Rose Bowl now and winning it. I mean, big difference between making it the last 2 years and coming up short, TK, as opposed to winning it and sort of solidifying and sort of qualifying everything you've done the last couple seasons.
The 3 years, the best in the history of the program, but we've been known as not being able to win the big one. I think this is a huge opportunity for us to go out there on a national stage and win that granddaddy of them all, and being proud of being Rose Bowl champions.
And a feeling by some that had they played Michigan State, maybe it wouldn't have been such an elite team. But now Wisconsin, I think there's no doubt they beat the Badgers in the Rose Bowl, and they can put some of that stuff to rest about losing to Auburn, losing to LSU in the season opener, and things like that. So
it'll be a challenge.
A lot of people may be more excited about them playing Wisconsin. With the win over UCLA, Oregon becomes the third team since the advent of the Pac-10 to win 3 straight conference titles. The Huskies did it in the early 90s, and of course USC with 7 straight from 2002 to 2008. Still to come on Inside the Pac. We'll go back to Austin for more with the Ducks as they now look ahead to the Rose Bowl, and just getting there won't be enough this time.
I couldn't be more proud of the way we win games by hard work, perseverance, and hopefully we can prove the hard work still wins championships and go take care of this one down in Pasadena.
And when they stroll out onto the lush grass in Pasadena, the Badgers will be waiting. See how Wisconsin got it done in the Big Ten title game. As always, lots more Beavers, Ducks, rest of the Pac-12 online all the time at our website, InsideThePac.com. We're back after this.